Because there's never an off day in the greatest sports city on earth. Here are the biggest stories and everything else you need to know from the new title town. It's Breaking Boston with Andy Hart and Nick Fitzy Stevens.
Hello, good morning, how are you? Happy umpteenth Christmas of the NFL schedule, calendar, or year. It is NFL schedule release day 2023, and those of us who find ourselves to be residents of Patriots Nation know we will be making our way to Germany come November for a rekindling of one of the greatest, or what used to be one of the greatest rivalries, Patriots versus Colts. Woe be but the days of Brady versus Manning, and now it may be Mac Jones versus Gardner Minshew. I almost think in a lot of ways this game is reparations for what went on during World War II. But that's for another day. We can talk football tomorrow when we get the full release of the NFL schedule today, Thursday, May 11th, 2023, on Breaking Boston. We're going to continue breaking Celtics because they are a hard habit to break, Andy. And yeah, on yesterday's episode, and if you missed it, run back and catch it. Every day, we give you somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes of everything you need to know with a little splash of how we feel to get you fired up, prepared, and ready for your day as a diehard Boston sports superfan. Yesterday, you tried to play the part of the Millennium Falcon taking off from the medical vessel at the end of Empire Strikes Back, leaving us with a moment of hope when you said, I shall try to remain positive because no one is better at coming back from down 3-2 in an NBA playoff series than the Boston Celtics. I was despondent. I was equally negative, but of course you portrayed yourself as the positive one because that's what you like to do and always sweep me under the rug or kick me to the curb, and that's fine. We all play our roles in this life. I since have done some reading. I've looked at some stats. I did a little meditating. I also listened to Joe Mazzulla on the radio today. It was a different radio station, but sometimes these things happen. And guess what? I liked what I heard from him. I really did. He sounded like he was in a good place. He's at peace with where they are. And I feel like if there's any way he can finally do some real coaching that we can see and make some moves, now is going to be the time where he can get his not one, but two all-NBA players, two of the top 10 players, as we learned today that Jason Tatum's a first-team all-NBA player, Jaylen Brown a second-team all-NBA player. You ready for this, Andy? I am so fired up for tonight's game, which of course will be happening during our schedule release party on WEEI. I'm going to tell you this right now. Celtics are going to roll.
I want to believe that. I want to hope that.
I'm in.
I am a little dubious. I am. And I'm surprised at that because, all along I've sort of taken the shots with the Celtics and been like, I'm not worried. That's how they do. They overlook things. They're talented. They're immature.
And like the Celtics the other night, did you miss them?
Yeah. No. They're landing. Now the shots are landing and they're doing damage. This is like one of those old-fashioned video games where to beat like the final monster, you had to shoot the same spot like 100 times in a row. Yep. And the first 90 didn't do much. And then you finally broke it down and everything blows up. I have concerns. Like you have Joe Mazzulla that some people have I know you like to fancy yourself a fan and a partaker in the social media world. There's a lot going on Twitter in the last 24 hours following that loss. Like people speculating Jaylen Brown sign and trade. And by speculating, I mean Greg Anthony getting into fights with local Celtics fans, including Bill Burt, columnist in our area, Metro West Daily News, and Lawrence Eagle Tribune. Sorry, Lawrence Eagle Tribune, Bill Burt.
Yeah, never let it happen again.
I'll try not. But like this speculation that Jaylen Brown, now that he's all NBA, that he wants out, and that's like one of the issues and what's going on behind the scenes. I saw speculation like if Mazzulla loses this game tonight, he needs to be gone. He has to be out. He has to be a one and done coach. There's just a lot transpiring with this team that we all started the postseason thinking they're really talented, they're young, but they're kind of falling into their stride of who they are. And now it's like we're questioning Tatum, we're questioning Brown, we're questioning Rob Williams, we're questioning Al Horford, we're questioning Joe Mazzulla.
Questioning
We're
Rob
questioning
Williams,
Derek
questioning
White.
the lineup, questioning everybody, everything. And also, Andy,
What happened?
Here's another question. What happened?
As you like to say, what happened?
What happened? I'll also say this. We like to question things like what happened to home court advantage at the Boston Garden, which at this point now I feel like we need to blow up. What happened to Celtic pride? Like, you are playing. They were wearing last night. I hate those uniforms, by the way. I appreciate the sincerity and the thought that went into the Bill Russell tribute sort of City Connect edition this year. I hate those uniforms. I'm so glad they're not wearing them. I want to see them tonight in either the classic Celtic green if Philly decides to go white, or if Philly goes with a different color. I want to see the Celtics in the classic road whites. Just give me straight cut, simple, vintage, classic uniforms. There is so much going on, like you said, with the team, and I'll start with the coach as well. Time tries to heal all wounds. It doesn't necessarily. It allows us perspective, though. And while, yes, Joe Mazzulla has been outcoached by Doc Rivers, and things like the zone continue to flummox the Celtics, and he calls better timeouts or just flat out calls timeouts and doesn't seem to have an aversion to them or an allergy to them as well, I do feel like Joe Mazzulla can do no worse. There's this predominant you can do no worse approach and attitude that I personally am taking towards tonight's game. I just can't see the backcourt shooting as poorly as they did. I can't see Jason Tatum starting as ice cold as he did. I can't see the emotional disconnect, that they brought to the table. I can't see Joe Mazzulla being as stunned by beginning with Joel Embiid's three-pointer all the way through more shots landing for Philly and his team shooting so ice cold. I just think the law of averages will sway back towards the Celtics' favor as well. And then when and if it does come down to, okay, it's a much closer game, it's 5 points, 3 points either way, and it's in the balance in the fourth quarter, the Celtics want and will to extend this. Their true talent, and hopefully, what I just mentioned a moment ago, Celtic pride will kick in, and they'll send this game back to Boston for what would be absolute Thunderdome on Sunday. But right now, Andy, their mindset is there is no game 7. We have to win tonight.
Oh, yeah. No, this is lit. I know that they tried to say it was a must-win previous. Now it actually is a must-win. If they don't win, they are toast. They are going home, and their coach could be gone. Players could be shaken up. I mean, just 2 days ago, we heard the Bruins talking about roster shakeup. We're going to be different. We're not going to be the same team. That's probably what's going to happen to the Boston Celtics if they lose this game. I wish I had as much faith as you do, and I certainly don't have any faith in the game you just described. If they're in a 3 to 5 point game down the stretch, I do not feel good about it because they are not good in those situations. They don't close. They need to have a 10 to 12 point lead down the home stretch.
Those terrify me more, honestly. Like the bigger the lead, the more scared I get, because I feel like that's when they have the lead, they get comfortable, they get complacent. That era.
But they're good enough to keep it. When they have 3 to 5 point leads, they don't execute. The coach stinks. The players stink at execution in tight games. That is not the atmosphere you want, even on the road. They need to, first of all, you're right. They need to come out and just shoot gosh damn basketball. Like, I'm sorry. You can't go 0 for 7, Al Horford. You can't go 0 for your first 5 or 8, Jason Tatum. Pick whichever piss poor game, piss poor start you've had recently.
You can't have multiple offensive fouls trying to be more aggressive to make up for what you believe to be a lackluster effort or energy by your teammates, Jaylen Brown. Like there was a lot of.
There's more than $500 million wrapped up in those two guys moving forward. Their new contracts are $295 million and $313 or $315 million for Tatum. Like more than $500 million.
Yeah.
It's stupid money. It's really ridiculous, but it is what it is. It's business. It's capitalism. Good for them. Enjoy. But I'm sorry. Hit some damn shots. Place it like they feel like they're becoming, and again, I tend to pick on Jason Tatum, this like paper mache, paper champion, regular season champion. Ooh, I'm the All-Star Game MVP. I'm going to go in that. Ooh, I'm going to be all NBA. Ooh, I'm a top 5 player. No. This is measured by, and we get into these great debates with Charles Barkley. Like those guys are always dogging on each other, right? Shaq and Barkley about titles and not winning.
They're the original ball busters. And I still have the nasty yet somehow oddly pleasant taste in my mouth of the A+ troll job that Barkley did on Boston fans when he said, "Oh, if the Celtics lose this series, at least you got the Bruins to fall back on." Oh, wait a second. Like, oh, Sir
But that's what it's
Charles
about. It's
at
about
2.
titles.
Yeah, he's right.
Like, watch
He's
his
right.
commercial.
Of which
his
he
new
has none.
commercial for FanDuel. Like, yeah, you're going to be surprised at how many championships you win, he says to the young Charles Barkley. But that's the road that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are going down. I'm not saying they're well down that road and there's no more exits and they can't get off that highway. But this is starting to be, the old phrase, nut cutting time.
Mm-hmm.
It's nut cutting time for Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Joe Mazzulla. Those three guys in particular. Don't give me the crap that we're going to blame this on, even though I bitch about him, Al Horford, or we're going to blame this on Brogdon or White. Like, no, I'm sorry. If you guys are worth $600 million, it is nut cutting time. Show up. And as Bill Belichick says, do your damn job.
Rob Williams,
jam job would be different.
I would love to see a couple jam jobs from Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Now, before I get into some stats that could play into the Celtics' favor tonight, I'll harken back to a year ago when they did the same damn things to themselves. Not quite the same, because in Game 5 last year, they just flat out got beat by Milwaukee at home. It was a good game down the stretch. One rebound and a tip-in went the way of the Bucks. It didn't go for the Celtics. Great classic playoff game. Whereas there was a complete no-show 2 nights ago at the Boston Garden, to a point where you'd almost wonder if the team, the Washington Generals that plays the Harlem Globetrotters, put on Celtics uniforms. They were that bad at times. They got booed off their own home court in what they described as, and you know what? If I was a fan and I paid $500 or $1,500 or $750 for a playoff ticket, a get-in game to see what I thought would have been a wrap-up game, hell, they should have still even won 4-0. Here we are. They're down 3-2. They need to win 2 in a row to advance. And it starts with winning the game tonight. Everyone's going to harken back to Game 6 against Milwaukee last year in the Eastern Conference semifinals, when Tatum was him and scored 46 points. I'm not expecting that kind of effort again tonight, because that's a reliance too much on an individual. Even though I know you want to see that kind of heroic performance by the man, I want to see a team win tonight. I want to see Tatum alive, connected, and electric early in the game, as opposed to scoring meaningless points later in the game when the rest of the team had already pretty much checked out. Now, I want to know, what do you think of this? So I saw this earlier. The Celtics are 31-10 this season when their starting lineup is Rob Williams, Al Horford, Jaylen, Tatum, and Marcus Smart, okay? But the winning percentage for the team is even higher when Derek White plays 35-plus minutes in a game. Now, he's sneaky been a non-factor the last couple. Like, he has not had a great series.
Sneaky. He's not been good.
No, he hasn't. And
I want my adulation and praise that we've given him for weeks and months back.
Yep.
I want it back, because he's falling into the Tatum trap.
What's happened with him? Is he tired? Is he overused? Is he spent? Is he injured?
We always make those excuses, but this is, like where the pressure starts to build, where like there's a little bit of clutch factor. There's a little bit of, this is real. This really matters. Like, this is the time when reputations and legacies are built. And I don't know that everybody responds positively to that environment. Like, some people do, right? Jimmy Butler is a better postseason player than regular season player. He's a great basketball player overall, but he has that extra dog, that extra gear, whatever you want to call it, to turn it up and to take it to that next level. It's a cliche. Like, you always hear coaches talk about it, but it's different in the postseason, right? Like,
Playoffs are a different animal, men. Come on, you got to respond to it differently. You can't think that, because you play the same team over and over again. So now tendencies and familiarities start to rise to the surface as well.
Zone defenses.
Yeah, a coach that actually calls timeouts. I get it. Like, look, Philadelphia, everything was falling for Philly the other night, and nothing was falling for the Celtics. So let's say if a few shots fall for the Celtics and a few don't for Philadelphia, the mean one will improve, one will regress, and the teams should be closer to each other as well. I honestly feel like, yes, you do need to lean on your 2 stars, as I mentioned earlier, one who was named to the first team All-NBA, the other one, Jaylen Brown, named to second team All-NBA, which was a little bit of a surprise, but damn, that's a hell of an honor. You have 2, according to the voting body, you have 2 of the top 10 players in the NBA on your team. Now, I know they also have a first-team All-NBA player in Joel Embiid and the MVP of the league on the other side, and that guy is on a heater. Celtics screwed the pooch by letting Atlanta stick around in that series, not getting Philadelphia for 1, 2, or 3 games, just one, and they lost that damn game with an injured Joel Embiid. So they have to eat the supper that was made for them, and they got to dance with the girl they done brung to the prom. Can they do it? Do they have enough talent? Yes. But the one thing, let's just say there was one reason, you were only able to pick one reason why you think they're not going to be able to do it tonight. What is that reason?
Emotional disconnect. I'm really back to that weirdness of these post-game Jaylen Browns when he's talking about, I guess I need to demand the ball more, or, I'm running, but no one runs with me, so we can't make any plays. I'm not going to dribble into a 1-on-4. This emotional disconnect between Tatum and Tatum's falling into your trap, by the way, the thing about, well, we did it last year against Milwaukee. Oh, so we're just going to assume you're going to do it again, that you're going to win 2 games?
I've said a lot of people are going to bring that up. I don't think you can just snap your fingers and I'll go for 40 again tonight.
Yeah. Hate it. Like, I don't like that mentality. So I don't like the emotion and where that is with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And then I just don't trust Joe Mazzulla. You can like listening to him on the radio, like, sure. And then, after game 4, the whole thing about, he didn't want to talk about the timeout post game. Then the next day he says, "Oh, hindsight, I should have called the timeout." But then he kept talking and said, "But I've prepared the team all year to play that way and to get the job." Like, so which is it? I don't know who he is, what he believes in, other than 3-pointers. That I know for sure. He believes in 3-pointers.
Yep.
Other than that, I'm not sure who he is. I'm not sure he knows who he is. And something we need to address is, beyond the X's and O's and the timeouts and the 3-pointers and all that crap, he is responsible for having 5 guys ready to take the court and play and bring energy and bring pace and hit their shots. That's button pushing. That is part of a coach's job. It might be the biggest part of a coach's job, in my opinion, especially in the NBA, when so much is based on talent and energy and runs. Like, he better have those damn guys ready. This is not on just Jason Tatum to show up or Jaylen Brown to show up. It's on Joe Mazzulla. Your job is to get them to show up. Push a button. I don't know if it's to disrespect them. I don't know if it's to praise them. The Parcells, some guys need a pat on the back, some need a kick in the ass. Mazzulla needs to know which these guys need.
It's very much praiseworthy. I think it's very much praiseworthy. He doesn't believe that Al Horford can shoot as poorly again. He buys into all of his guys. I think that's all. Okay. Remember, he told him, like, there would be moments during the season, like, just tell him I love him. Just tell him I love him. Like, he would give those weird post-game answers. Now is the time to tell these guys. Way. Yeah.
Love them the right way.
A little tough love may go a long way here.
Maybe it's time for tough love. Because he said, this was our first egg, basically, we laid in the playoffs the other night. Maybe it's time for tough love. I don't know what it is, but it's his job today, leading up to game time, to push whatever button it is, to pat whatever back it is, and to kick whatever ass it is.
So Andy believes the emotional disconnect between the Boston Celtics and their head coach, who is in over his head and well above his pay grade, is going to cost them.
I'm short. I know, in over your head. I'm short.
Will cost them the series, the game itself tonight, and the series. And they likely will lose, if I'm correct in surmising what I believe your prediction will be. He's not feeling good about it. And Glenn Doc Rivers, our old pal, who left us at the altar 10 years ago, right around the same time the Hernandez news broke. What a week that was in Boston sports. Oh, and then Tuca lost game 6. Damn, what a June 2013 we had as Boston sports fans. But I digress. Andy's not feeling good. I believe that a rising tide of Celtic pride, the talent on the Celtics, and their inability to play as piss poorly as they did again the other night will allow them to sneak out a 4 or 5 point win. It'll be convincing, but it also will be a nail biter. And then we'll be setting the stage for a Mother's Day showdown for the ages. That's how I feel. That's how he feels. This is what we do each and every morning. Bring you fresh spins, hot takes, and everything you, the diehard Boston sports superfan, need to know about what the biggest stories are in the wide world of the greatest sports city on earth. This is Breaking Boston. We'll be back tomorrow with our reactions to the Celtics and Sixers Game 6, as well as a couple of thoughts on the full release of the 2023 New England Patriots schedule. Fahat, producer Koopa, I'm your old pal Fitzy. Thanks for listening to Breaking Boston. Please rate, review, subscribe, and share, and we will talk to you tomorrow, hopefully as winners.